A single dad took 2 bullets saving a CIA agent's daughter from armed killers. The bullets tore through his body, but he refused to fall until the child was safe. He survived the attack but lost his memory forever. Now he cannot remember raising his own daughter for the past 3 years. Before you watch full story, comment below from which country are you watching. Don't forget to subscribe for more amazing stories. The rain hammered against the cracked windshield as Jake Morgan gripped the steering wheel, his knuckles white with tension. His 7-year-old daughter Emma sat in the back seat, humming a soft tune while coloring in her notebook. She had no idea that her father's peaceful life as a construction worker was about to collide with a world of violence and secrets. Jake had been a single dad for 3 years now. His wife Sarah died in a car accident when Emma was only 4. Since that terrible day, Jake devoted every breath to protecting his daughter. He worked double shifts at the construction site, came home exhausted, but always found energy to read Emma bedtime stories, help with homework, and make her smile. "Daddy, when will we get home?" Emma asked, looking up from her drawings. "Soon, sweetheart." "Just a few more minutes," Jake replied, glancing in the rearview mirror at her innocent face. They were driving back from Emma's dance class through the warehouse district. It was a shortcut Jake always took to save time. The streets were empty and dark. Only a few streetlights worked in this forgotten part of town. Suddenly, a black SUV roared past them, driving recklessly. Jake had to swerve to avoid being hit. His heart pounded as he steadied the car. "Daddy, what was that?" Emma's voice trembled with fear. "It's okay, baby. Just a bad driver. We're safe," Jake said, trying to calm both Emma and himself. But then he saw something that made his blood run cold. The black SUV stopped suddenly about 50 meters ahead. 3 men jumped out, all wearing dark clothes and carrying guns. They surrounded a silver sedan that had been driving in front of the SUV. Jake's instinct screamed at him to turn around and drive away. This was not his business. He had to protect Emma. But before he could reverse, one of the armed men looked directly at his car. "Daddy, I'm scared," Emma whispered. "Get down on the floor, Emma. Right now. Don't look up no matter what," Jake ordered, his voice firm but shaking. Emma did as she was told, curling up on the floor behind the front seat. Jake's mind raced. If he drove away now, the gunman might shoot at them. If he stayed, they were sitting targets. He had no phone signal in this dead zone of the city. The gunman forced open the silver sedan. A woman stumbled out, her hands raised. Even from this distance, Jake could see she was terrified. She was in her mid-30s, wearing a business suit, her blonde hair falling loose around her shoulders. Behind her, a small figure emerged. A little girl, maybe 9 or 10 years old, with dark curls and wide frightened eyes. The woman pulled the girl behind her protectively. One of the gunmen grabbed the woman roughly. Another pointed his weapon at the little girl. Jake watched in horror as the situation unfolded. "Please, don't hurt my daughter. Take me, but let her go," the woman screamed, her voice breaking with desperation. The words hit Jake like a punch to his gut. A mother protecting her daughter. He looked down at Emma trembling on the floor of his car. He thought about Sarah, about the promise he made at her grave to always protect their child. He thought about how he would want someone to help Emma if she were in danger. In that moment, Jake Morgan made a choice that would change everything. He pushed open his car door and stepped out into the rain. "Hey! Leave them alone!" Jake shouted, his voice carrying across the empty street. The 3 gunmen turned to look at him. One of them laughed, a cold, cruel sound. "Go back to your car, old man. This doesn't concern you," the tallest gunman said, raising his weapon toward Jake. "I said leave them alone," Jake repeated, walking forward slowly with his hands visible. His heart hammered against his ribs, but his feet kept moving. "Daddy, no!" Emma's small voice cried from the car. The woman in the business suit looked at Jake with shock and something else in her eyes. Recognition? Gratitude? Fear for him? "You're making a big mistake," another gunman snarled. "Do you know who we are?" "I don't care who you are. You're not hurting that woman and her daughter," Jake said firmly. The tallest gunman's face twisted with rage. "Kill him." Everything happened so fast. The first gunshot echoed through the empty street. Jake felt a burning pain explode in his left shoulder as the bullet tore through his flesh. He stumbled but didn't fall. The woman used the distraction. She grabbed her daughter and started running toward Jake's car. The gunmen shouted and turned their weapons toward her and the child. "No!" Jake roared. He lunged forward, throwing himself between the fleeing woman and the gunman. The second bullet hit him in the chest, just below his right collarbone. The impact spun him around. He crashed to the wet pavement, pain flooding his entire body. Through blurring vision, Jake saw the woman and her daughter reach his car. He heard Emma screaming his name. He heard the woman shouting something urgent. More gunshots rang out, but they were different now. "Return fire." The woman was shooting back at the gunman with a pistol she had pulled from somewhere. She was trained, precise. 2 of the gunmen fell. The third dove behind the black SUV. "Get in. We have to go," the woman yelled. Jake tried to stand but his body wouldn't obey. Blood soaked his shirt, warm and sticky. The rain mixed with it, creating red streams across the asphalt. Strong hands grabbed him under his arms. The woman was incredibly strong for her size. She dragged Jake toward his car with fierce determination. "Emma, stay down," the woman commanded as she pulled Jake into the back seat. "Daddy. Daddy, no. What's wrong with Daddy?" Emma sobbed, reaching for her father. The woman slid into the driver's seat. The third gunman appeared, firing at them. Bullets shattered the back window. The woman ducked, started the engine, and slammed her foot on the accelerator. The car lurched forward, tires screeching. Jake lay across the back seat, his vision fading in and out. He could feel Emma's small hands clutching his arm, could hear her desperate crying. He wanted to tell her everything would be okay. He wanted to promise her she was safe. But the darkness was pulling him down. "Stay with me. Do you hear me? Stay awake," the woman shouted, glancing back at him while driving at dangerous speeds through the streets. Her daughter sat in the front passenger seat now, tears streaming down her face, looking back at Jake with horror. "Mommy, is he going to die?" the girl asked in a tiny voice. "No. I won't let that happen," the woman said with steel in her voice. She was talking on a phone now, hands-free, giving rapid instructions. "This is Agent Victoria Hayes. I need immediate medical extraction. Civilian casualty. 2 gunshot wounds. Warehouse District, heading north on 5th Street. Agent?" Jake's foggy mind tried to process this information. The woman was some kind of agent. "Sir, this civilian just saved my life and my daughter's life. He took 2 bullets for us. I'm bringing him in," Victoria said firmly into the phone. Jake's consciousness slipped further away. The last thing he heard was Emma's voice singing the lullaby he always sang to her at bedtime. Her sweet small voice trying to comfort him the way he had comforted her so many times. Then everything went black. Jake woke to bright white lights and the steady beeping of machines. His entire body felt like it was on fire. He tried to move but straps held him down. Panic surged through him. "Emma," he tried to shout, but his voice came out as a weak croak. "Easy, easy. Don't move." A nurse appeared at his side, checking the monitors around his bed. "You're in a secure medical facility. You've been in surgery. You need to rest." "My daughter, where is my daughter?" Jake managed to gasp. "She's safe. She's right outside with Agent Hayes, the nurse assured him. The door opened and Victoria Hayes walked in. She looked different now. Her hair was pulled back, she wore clean clothes, and her face was calm and professional. But her eyes held deep emotion when she looked at Jake. "Mr. Morgan. I'm glad you're awake," she said softly. "Emma." Jake whispered. Victoria stepped aside and Emma rushed into the room. Her face was tear-stained and exhausted, but when she saw her father awake, her whole face lit up. "Daddy." She ran to his bedside, carefully taking his hand. "I'm here, sweetheart." "I'm here," Jake said, tears spilling down his own cheeks. Victoria watched them for a moment, then spoke. "Mr. Morgan, what you did tonight was the bravest thing I've ever witnessed. You saved my daughter's life and mine. Those men were sent to kill me because of an operation I led last month. They found out about my daughter and planned to use her to get to me." Jake looked at her, trying to focus through the pain medication. "You're really an agent? CIA. I've been undercover for 2 years tracking an arms trafficking network. Tonight they came for revenge," Victoria explained. "You had no reason to help us. You put your own life at risk, left your daughter in danger, to save strangers." "I couldn't just watch," Jake said simply. "She's a mother. You're a mother. I lost my wife. I couldn't let Emma lose her father without trying to help another child keep theirs." Victoria's eyes glistened with tears. She blinked them back quickly. "The doctors say you'll recover. The bullets missed your vital organs by millimeters. You're incredibly lucky." Over the next few days, Jake learned the full story. Victoria had been leading an operation that took down a major criminal organization. The attack was retaliation. The CIA had put her and her daughter into protective custody now. The third gunman was caught. The threat was over. Jake also met Victoria's daughter, Sophie. She was 9 years old, shy but brave. She came to visit Jake in the hospital and brought him drawings she made. "Thank you for saving my mom and me," Sophie said quietly, handing him a picture of a superhero. "I drew this for you. You're our hero." Jake's heart swelled. He looked at this little girl who reminded him so much of Emma. 2 daughters who almost lost their parents that rainy night. Emma and Sophie became fast friends during those hospital days. They played together in the waiting room, shared snacks, and told each other stories. It was a bright spot in a dark time. After a week, Jake was discharged. His left arm was in a sling and his chest was heavily bandaged, but he could go home. Victoria arranged for them to have a security detail for a few weeks, just to be safe. "I owe you everything," Victoria said as she helped Jake into a car. "If there's ever anything you need, anything at all, you call me." She handed him a card with her personal number. Jake smiled weakly. "Just keep your daughter safe. That's all I want." Life slowly returned to normal. Jake couldn't work construction with his injuries, so he stayed home with Emma. They spent quiet days together, healing in more ways than one. Victoria checked in regularly, always asking if they needed anything. One evening, about a month after the shooting, Jake started feeling strange. He had headaches that wouldn't go away. His vision blurred sometimes. He chalked it up to stress and pain medication. But then it got worse. He would forget small things. Where he put his keys. What day it was. One morning he couldn't remember Emma's teacher's name, even though he had met her dozens of times. "Daddy, are you okay?" Emma asked, worry in her young voice. "I'm fine, baby. Just tired," Jake lied. But he wasn't fine. Deep inside, he felt something was very wrong. 2 weeks later, Jake collapsed in the kitchen. Emma screamed and called 911, just like her father had taught her. When Jake woke up in the hospital again, Victoria was there. "The doctors found something on your brain scan," Victoria said gently. One of the bullets, it didn't just hit your shoulder and chest. A fragment, a tiny piece of metal, traveled through your body. It lodged near your brain. They didn't catch it in the first surgery because it was so small and you were critical. But now it's causing pressure. They need to operate immediately. Jake's world tilted. What does that mean? The doctor came in, his face serious. Mr. Morgan, this is a very delicate surgery. The fragment is pressing on areas of your brain that control memory and cognitive function. We need to remove it, but I have to be honest with you. There are risks. You could lose some memory. You might not remember recent events. In worst cases, patients lose years of memories. Jake felt like he was drowning. What are the chances? If we don't operate, the damage will be progressive. You'll lose cognitive function completely within months. If we do operate, there's a 60% chance of significant memory loss, but you'll be alive and stable, the doctor said. Jake looked at Emma, who sat in the corner with Sophie. Victoria had brought her daughter for support. The two girls held hands, both looking terrified. Will I remember Emma? Jake asked, his voice breaking. The doctor hesitated. We can't predict exactly what memories will be affected. The brain is complex. But yes, there's a chance you might not remember parts of her life. Or how to care for her. Or even who she is, in the worst scenario. The room went silent except for Emma's soft crying. Jake made his choice immediately. Do the surgery. I need to be alive for her, even if I can't remember. She needs a father, any father, more than she needs a father with perfect memories. Victoria stepped forward. Jake, listen to me. If the worst happens, if you lose memories, Emma won't be alone. I promise you that. My daughter and I will be there for both of you. You saved our lives. Let us help save yours. The surgery was scheduled for the next morning. That night, Jake spent every moment with Emma. He recorded videos on Victoria's phone, telling Emma how much he loved her. He wrote letters for her to read when she was older. He tried to pour 7 years of love into one night. I'm scared, Daddy, Emma whispered as she lay next to him in the hospital bed. Me too, baby. But you know what? Even if I forget things, I'll never forget how much I love you. That love is too big to forget. It's in my heart, not just my brain, Jake said, kissing her forehead. Promise? Emma asked. Promise. The next morning, they wheeled Jake into surgery. Emma watched him go, Victoria's arms around her shoulders. Sophie stood beside them, all three crying. The surgery took 8 hours. Victoria stayed in the waiting room the entire time, Emma sleeping against her shoulder, Sophie reading quietly beside them. When the doctor finally emerged, his face was unreadable. The surgery was successful. We removed the fragment. He's alive and stable, the doctor began. But? Victoria prompted, sensing more news. But there was more damage than we anticipated. He's going to lose memories. Significant ones. We won't know the extent until he wakes up, but based on the areas affected, I believe he'll lose most memories from the past 5 years. Emma didn't understand at first. Then Victoria explained gently, and the little girl's world shattered. He won't remember being my daddy. Emma sobbed. He'll remember you were born. He'll remember being your father. But he might not remember the last few years. All your special moments together. Your mother's death. Raising you alone. He might not remember any of it, Victoria said, her own voice thick with tears. When Jake woke up 3 days later, Victoria was the first person he saw. Where am I? He asked groggily. You're in the hospital. You had surgery. Do you remember why? Victoria asked carefully. Jake thought hard. His mind felt foggy, like trying to see through thick smoke. There was a shooting. Someone needed help. Yes. That's right. What else do you remember? Victoria pressed gently. Emma. My wife Sarah. We have a daughter named Emma. She's little. 2 years old, I think. Where is she? Jake said, then panic crossed his face. Where's Sarah? Is my wife okay? Victoria's heart broke. The doctors were right. Jake had lost years of memories. He didn't remember Sarah dying. He didn't remember raising Emma alone. He remembered Emma as a toddler, not the 7-year-old girl waiting outside. Jake, I need to tell you some things. This is going to be hard, Victoria began. She explained everything. Sarah's death 3 years ago. Raising Emma as a single father. The shooting where he saved Victoria and Sophie. The surgery. The memory loss. Jake listened, his face going pale. I don't remember any of that. Sarah is dead. I've been raising Emma alone for 3 years. I can't remember 3 years of my daughter's life. He broke down then, sobbing like a child. Victoria held his hand, letting him grieve for memories he lost and a wife he had to lose again. Can I see Emma? Jake asked finally. Are you sure you're ready? Victoria asked. Jake nodded. She's my daughter. I need to see her. Victoria brought Emma in. The little girl walked slowly, scared and unsure. She looked at her father with hope and fear mixed in her eyes. Daddy, she said softly. Jake stared at this 7-year-old girl, trying to reconcile her with the toddler in his memories. His last memory of Emma was of a 2-year-old who could barely talk. Now she stood before him, a whole person with thoughts and feelings and years of experiences he couldn't remember sharing. Emma, he said. You're so big. I remember you being tiny. I grew up, Daddy. You were there for all of it. You don't remember? Emma asked, tears rolling down her cheeks. I'm so sorry, sweetheart. I want to remember. I'm trying, but it's all blank, Jake said, his own tears falling. Emma ran to him then and threw her arms around him carefully, avoiding his bandages. It's okay, Daddy. We'll make new memories. Better ones. I'll help you remember. Over the next weeks, Jake slowly healed physically. But the emotional wounds were deeper. He struggled to connect with Emma. She would reference things they did together that he couldn't remember. Inside jokes that meant nothing to him now. Routines they had developed that he had forgotten. Emma tried so hard to be patient. She showed him photos and videos. She told him stories about their life together. But Jake could see the pain in her eyes every time he failed to remember something important to her. Victoria and Sophie visited almost every day. Victoria helped Jake navigate his new reality. She hired a nurse to help him at home. She arranged for a therapist. She made sure Emma had support too. Sophie became Emma's rock. The two girls talked for hours about their feelings. Sophie understood in a way other kids couldn't. She had almost lost her mother too. Your dad is still your dad, Sophie told Emma one day. He just forgot some stuff. But he still loves you. I can see it in his eyes when he looks at you. Emma nodded, wiping her tears. I know. I just miss the old daddy. The one who knew all our special songs and games. The one who called me his little star. One night, about 2 months after the surgery, Jake heard Emma crying in her room. He went to check on her and found her looking at a photo album. What's wrong, sweetheart? He asked, sitting on the edge of her bed. It's my birthday next month. I'll be 8. And you won't remember any of my other birthdays. Not my first one, or my 6th, or the special party you threw last year with all my friends, Emma said through her tears. Jake's heart shattered. He looked at the photos in the album. Pictures of birthdays he couldn't remember. Emma blowing out candles. Emma in princess costumes. Emma hugging him while he smiled at the camera. A whole life he lived but lost. Tell me about them, Jake said softly. What? Emma looked up, surprised. Tell me about those birthdays. Tell me everything. I want to know, even if I can't remember, Jake said. So Emma did. She talked for hours, describing every detail she could remember. Jake listened, trying to absorb every word, trying to make new memories of the old ones through her stories. As she talked, something shifted. Jake realized that even though he couldn't remember these moments, they still mattered. They shaped who Emma was. They shaped who he was, even if he didn't remember them. I'm sorry I forgot, Emma. I'm so sorry, Jake said when she finished. It's not your fault, Daddy. You saved a little girl and her mom. You're a hero. Heroes sometimes get hurt, Emma said, showing wisdom beyond her years. You know what? Maybe we can make new traditions. New special things that are just ours from now on. And you can keep telling me about the old ones, so in a way, I'll know them even if I don't remember them, Jake suggested. Emma's face brightened a little. Really? We can make new memories. As many as you want. We have your whole life ahead of us, Jake promised. From that night forward, things changed. Jake stopped trying so hard to remember and started focusing on being present. He learned who Emma was now, not who she was in his lost memories. He discovered her love for drawing, her fear of thunderstorms, her favorite foods, her best friends at school. They created new bedtime routines. New inside jokes. New traditions. Every Sunday they made pancakes together. Every Friday was movie night. These were their new memories, built on the foundation of love that never disappeared. Victoria watched their journey with admiration. She saw Jake transform from a man desperate to remember into a man determined to be the father Emma needed, regardless of his memories. You're amazing, you know that? Victoria told Jake one day. I'm just doing what any father would do, Jake replied. No. Most people would have given up. Most people would have been destroyed by losing so much. But you're building something new. You're showing Emma that love isn't about perfect memories. It's about showing up every day, Victoria said. Jake smiled. I learned that from watching you. You never gave up on your daughter, even when your job put her in danger. You kept fighting. I'm just following your example. A year passed. Emma turned 8 with a birthday party that Jake would actually remember. Sophie was there, of course, and many of Emma's school friends. Jake took hundreds of pictures, determined to document every moment. As he watched Emma laugh and play with her friends, Jake felt grateful. Not for what he lost, but for what he gained. He lost memories, but he found strength he didn't know he had. He lost years with Emma, but he learned to value every single moment going forward. Victoria approached him as the party wound down. I have some news. The CIA is giving you a civilian service commendation. They want to honor what you did that night. Jake shook his head. I don't need a medal. I have everything I need right here. He looked at Emma, who was showing Sophie a new dance move. The two girls had become like sisters. Victoria had become like family too. That night changed everything, Jake said. I lost part of myself, but I found something too. I found out what really matters. Not memories of the past, but the people we love in the present. Victoria nodded. You saved my daughter's life that night. But I think, in a way, you saved mine too. You reminded me what courage looks like. Real courage isn't about guns or operations. It's about a single dad stepping between danger and someone else's child. And you saved my life, Jake replied. Not just by getting me to the hospital. But by being here through all of this. By helping Emma when I couldn't. By showing me that family isn't just about blood. It's about who shows up when things get hard. That night, after everyone left and Emma was asleep, Jake sat alone in his living room. He looked at the new photo album Emma was making. Pictures from the last year. Their new memories together. On the first page, Emma had written something in her careful child's handwriting, "To Daddy. You are my hero. Even though you forgot some things, you never forgot to love me. These are our new memories. Love, your little star." Jake read those words and cried. Not tears of sadness for what he lost, but tears of gratitude for what remained. His daughter called him her hero. But the truth was, she was his hero. She forgave him for forgetting. She helped him rebuild. She loved him even when he couldn't remember why she was afraid of dogs or how she liked her sandwiches cut or which stuffed animal she needed to sleep. Emma taught him that love doesn't live in memories. It lives in actions. In showing up. In trying. In being present, even when the past is lost. The scars on Jake's shoulder and chest faded with time. But the scar on his memory never healed. He would never remember those lost 3 years. He would never remember Sarah's death or Emma's first day of school or the countless nights he stayed up with her when she was sick. But he learned to live with it. He learned that being a father wasn't about remembering every moment. It was about making sure every moment mattered. Years later, when Emma was 16, she asked him about that night. They rarely talked about it anymore. "Do you ever regret it, Dad? Saving them? Losing your memories?" she asked. Jake thought carefully before answering. "Every day I wish I could remember your childhood, Em. Every single day. But regret saving Victoria and Sophie? Never. Because that night taught me something. It taught me that love isn't selfish. It gives without counting the cost. And if I had to lose every memory I ever had to save another child's life, I'd do it again." Emma hugged him tight. "That's why you're my hero, Dad. Not because you're perfect. But because you're good." Jake held his daughter close, grateful for this moment he would actually remember. Grateful for the second chance at fatherhood that his sacrifice gave him. Grateful for the family they built from broken pieces. He lost his memories that rainy night. But he found his purpose. And in the end, maybe that was worth more than any memory could ever be. The single dad who took 2 bullets saving a CIA agent's daughter lost everything and gained what mattered most. He lost the past but found the present. He lost memories but kept love. And in the heart of his daughter, he became a hero not because he remembered everything, but because he never forgot what truly mattered. Their story became legend in the circles that knew about it. The CIA agents whispered about the construction worker who threw himself into danger for strangers. Victoria told the story at training sessions, teaching new agents about real courage. But for Jake and Emma, it was simply their life. A life built not on perfect memories, but on imperfect love. A life where a father showed up every day, learning to know his daughter all over again. A life where a daughter learned to forgive and help and love unconditionally. And in that small house, with its photo albums full of new memories and its walls echoing with laughter, a single dad and his daughter proved that family isn't about remembering the past. It's about building the future, one precious moment at a time. Jake Morgan took 2 bullets and lost his memory forever. But he gained something money couldn't buy and memories couldn't hold. He gained a daughter who loved him not for what he remembered, but for who he was. And in her eyes, he would always be a hero. The end came not with grand gestures or perfect resolutions. It came in quiet moments. Emma graduating high school with her father cheering in the crowd. Sophie becoming a doctor, inspired by the man who saved her mother. Victoria retiring from the CIA to spend more time with family. And Jake, still building new memories every day, still being the father Emma needed, still proving that the greatest act of love is showing up, even when you've lost everything else. He saved 2 lives that rainy night. But in truth, they all saved each other. Victoria saved Jake's life by getting him to the hospital. Sophie and Emma saved each other by becoming sisters. And Emma saved Jake from drowning in his lost memories by teaching him that the present moment is the only one that truly matters. Their story had no perfect ending because life doesn't work that way. But it had a real ending. One filled with love, sacrifice, forgiveness, and the quiet courage of starting over. A single dad took 2 bullets saving a CIA agent's daughter and lost his memory forever. But he never lost his heart. And that made all the difference.